So, you've got a brand new community platform and you're trying to figure out how on earth do we get people in here and build a really cool community. Well, the good news is I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. Let's go. Alrighty, welcome. Now, every community has a bit of a chicken and egg situation when they get started. On one hand, you've got a brand new community platform, such as a forum or a chat channel, and there's no one in there, and you want to get people into that community, but why would people go in there when it's empty? Okay, like why would you go and eat in a restaurant that's completely empty as well? There's no atmosphere, there's no discussion, there's no excitement. I wouldn't do that. So I'm going to walk through a 3-step process in this video for how to do exactly that, and it's what I call an early adopter initiative. Now the good news here is that this is relatively straightforward to go through. You need a small number of people, and it's not only going to get your community up and running and stop it being a ghost town, but it's going to give you some super valuable feedback that you can use to kick the tires and improve and refine your community before you kick the doors open to people who you don't know. All right? All right. So let's start out with step number 1, and this is the setup, okay? So we're going to need to make sure that we've got 3 things in place before we get our community up and running. Okay, the first one is going to be, can you guess what that is? Answers on a postcard. This is your platform. So whichever community platform you've chosen, whether it's a forum such as Discourse or Vanilla or something along those lines, or a chat channel such as Slack or Discord or Mattermost or whatever, make sure that you've got essentially a runnable version of your platform up and running. So it's a place where people can go and create accounts, they can start conversations, they can engage with each other, okay? Now it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? I would never ever try and launch a community that's completely perfect because we just don't know enough. We can try and figure out what our members are gonna like, but we need to start with something and then get feedback and input from our members, and then we can make changes based upon what we hear, okay? So just make sure that it's good enough to get up and running. Now the second thing you're gonna wanna put in place is gonna be a deck, okay? Presentation deck. Okay, that's going to be a little pie chart there. So this is going to be your presentation deck. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to select a small group of people to come to a Zoom call, and you're going to show this deck. And I'll walk through what goes into that deck in just a moment. But this is where we're going to basically get them excited about the community, explain what we're doing, and then give them a demo of the platform that we've put in place and get them up and running, okay? So platform and deck are the first 2 things. And then what you're going to need as well is going to be, can you guess what that is, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. If I was watching this, I would have no idea what that is. Is that a pufferfish? What you're going to need are some conservation? No, not conservation. Conversation starters. It's amazing that people pay me for anything. Okay, so some conversation starters. So when people come into your brand new community, there's no discussion happening. You're going to need to jumpstart a whole load of discussions, okay? So conversations that are going to be of interest to your target audience around the topic that they're interested in as well. So you want to come up with at least 2 a week, ideally 3 a week, that you can jumpstart. Now, think about it this way. When you have a party at your house and a couple of people show up to your party and they don't know each other, what do you always do as a host? Well, you tend to kind of get them together and you try to find what they've got in common so you can break the ice between the 2 of them, then they can start talking, then you can kind of slip away and then go and do the same thing for some other people, and then before you know it, people are chatting to each other, and as the gin starts flowing, everyone's having a great time, okay? So make sure that you've got some conversation starters to get up and running with. So let's say you've got a community that's focused on soccer, right? I don't know anything about soccer, or football as we call it in England. It could be things like, okay, what do you think is the best team formation strategy? What kind of football boots do you like to play with? I said football, soccer boots do you want to play with? What kind of soccer balls do you like to kick around? I don't know, whatever's relevant and interesting to kind of get people engaging, because you want to get people participating. You want to break the ice and have them feel comfortable typing and engaging in your community platform, all right? So think about 2 or 3 that you can kick off each week. So if you're going to run this initiative for 2 weeks, say, then you're going to want to have 4 or 6 of these ready to go. All right. Now, step number 2 is where we now invite our first cohort. A cohort is a fancy way of saying a group of people. Okay. Now, what you're going to do here is you are going to pick 10 to 20 people. Okay, these are going to be people who you know and trust, who are already familiar with what you're doing. So let's say you're running a startup. It could be early customers, it could be early users, it could be friends and colleagues and associates that you know in your industry. But these are people who you know and trust, who are warm to whatever you're trying to do here, that you can bring in and that can actively participate in your community. These should not be people you don't really know, you don't really have a relationship with, because you don't want to the community's not ready yet, okay? We need to get that feedback and improve it before we find people who we don't really know. We want to bring people who we know and trust so we can get their feedback, okay? They're going to be a lot more patient with us. So identify those 10 to 20 people. Now, if you don't have 10 to 20 people, that's fine. It should be at least more than 5, but try and bring in, ideally, 5 to 10 as a bare minimum, okay? So identify those people first of all. Now what you're going to do, I'll tell you what you're going to do right now. You're going to like this video. Is this video helpful? Hit that like button. You know, YouTube's a big place. There's a lot of videos on this platform. And I need you to like this video, otherwise people won't see it. Okay, so hit that video like button. And then what you need to do is go and hit that subscribe button and of course tap that little notification bell, because then you'll get notified when these videos come out. Okay, and we can be best friends forever as well. All right, so what you're actually going to do next, once you've subscribed and hit that like button, is you're going to now invite them to a call. Okay? So you're going to basically say to these 10 to 20 people, I want you to invite you to, we're kicking off a brand new community. I'd like you to come and join us at 10 a.m. Pacific time on February the 22nd. Where we can share with you what we're doing, and we'd love you to help us build an amazing community. Now, ideally, you want to do that in something such as Zoom or a Hangout or Blue Jeans or whatever platform you've got. What you really don't want to do is do it on the phone, okay? Because you want to be able to show them the deck. So try to do it on a video platform if possible. Now, if you are building a community that's focused on an area that doesn't have great connectivity, you know, I've worked with communities, for example, in parts of Africa where they have a lot of dial-up, then you may want to just do a call because it's going to be a lot easier for people to connect, okay? So you invite them to the call. And then what you're going to do on that video call is you're going to run through the deck, okay? This deck here. Now, this is going to be broken into 3 sections, and ideally this is going to be about 15 minutes long, okay? You don't want to keep them around for too long. You want to, in there, get great information, inspire them, excite them, and then get out, all right? So the first thing you're going to say is why. Why are we doing this? Why are we building a community? Like, why are you even here, okay? Talk about the vision, the excitement, the inspiration for what you're trying to do. So if we're talking about a soccer community, football, then it could be, we want to turn you into the best players, the best managers, the best fans. We want to bring all of this amazing insight and expertise that we've got in our brains from sharing, you know, from playing games with each other and sharing ideas and perspectives. We want to get that out together so we can learn from each other, so we can become better athletes and better players, okay? So get them excited. You got to think big. Make them feel like they're investing themselves in building something that everybody's going to want, okay? You can't just say, we've set up a nice forum platform so we can come and have conversations with each other. Boring, okay? Get them excited and motivated, okay? Okay, so that's going to be the why. Now what you're going to say is the what. Like, what have we done? Okay, what have we done to kind of get us up and running? You're going to talk about the platform. You're going to talk about some conversations that you want to kick off. Talk about some of the content that you might want to produce, okay? But explain what we've got right now. And it's key that you say at this point, this is just a starting point. This is just how we're getting going, okay? This is a version 0.01 alpha, okay? If you poke the edges of it, it'll probably fall over. And be open about and vulnerable about the fact that it's not going to be perfect. And then you're going to want to say, whoops, oh, look at the mess I'm making. Then what you're going to want to say is how can you folks help us to be successful, okay? This is where you get them excited and zone in on them. Really, you know, big them up, talk about their expertise and their insight and their experiences, and make it very clear, like, we can come together as a group and do amazing things together rather than just getting together as individuals, okay? So explain how they can be valuable, okay? And this is where you want to say, like, sharing your insight, your experience, telling us where our community has got flaws or issues with it. telling us where we can add value and improve it. We want to hear your feedback, your perspectives, no matter how critical they're going to be. We can only make this great if you're part of what we're trying to do here. Okay, so walk through that deck. Again, 10 to 15 minutes ideally. Make it visually interesting, make it exciting. Get yourself G'd up. Drink a bunch of coffee before you get on that deck call, okay? And then what you're going to do next is you're then going to walk through the call to action. All right. Now, the call to action is where you give them a specific thing that you want them to do. Okay. What do you want them to do as soon as you wrap up the call? Okay. And a great way of doing that is to get them to go and leave an introduction. Okay. Ask them to share who they are, where they're from, and share one fact about themselves that other people probably don't know. That's a fun way to kind of get people up and running, okay? But you need to give them a single thing for them to get started with. And that's a nice way to do it. Now, one of the things I quite like to do is to actually, at this point, is actually run demo, where you actually walk through your platform up here and you show them how they can go in and do that. And you actually say, like, while we're on here, if you can do it right now, go and register an account and let's start seeing the introductions coming in. You do it in real time. That's a really fun way of doing it, okay? And then the third part, I'm running out of space here, so I'll try and squeeze it in down here, okay? Is that you rinse and repeat, okay? So what you do, check my pens everywhere, okay? What you do is everything that we've covered in this section here, you bring it into here and you do it again, okay? So you bring in a second cohort of people. Maybe it's going to be 20 to 50 people, and you repeat the same process. The key thing is at the end of each cohort, that's when you start kicking in all of these conversation starters. So when you've done the half an hour Zoom call with everybody, that's when you then start your conversation starters. Once every other day is asking people their questions, their ideas, feeding into these discussions, and then bit by bit, as people start to reply and provide their input and share their thoughts, and you continue to respond to them and say, oh, that's a really interesting point. Can you share a little bit more about it? Bit by bit, your community is going to form more and more. So if you run this first cohort for about 2 weeks, let's say, and you've got, let's say, 4 conversation starters in that 2-week period, 2 a week, you're going to start getting some traction. And then after that 2-week period, you then bring in another cohort of people, again, a couple of conversation starters each week, and then maybe you kick the doors open and make your community live, okay? So that's one of the most effective ways that I've found to get your community up and running. I hope this was useful. Hit that like button because it really helps my videos and helps them get visibility. Hit that subscribe button and of course that notification bell. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Like, what have you learned about this process? Have you got any other tips and recommendations that you would recommend people do when they're kicking off a brand new community? Because it's a pretty terrifying time when you're starting a brand new community. All right, that's it. Bacon out. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.